We have a hot mic. Video is on. Those of you online, can you hear us?
I sit next to you so I can see your agenda.
Sure.
Yep, I can hear. I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, perfect. I'm going to hit record and take it away.
Okay, we are here for a special meeting. It's May 7th at 5:01 p.m. And let's do a little roll call of who we have. Here at the community center is Mayor Ewing, and we also have
Gary Hawes.
Councilman Hawes, and online, looks like we have a couple folks.
Spencer Wade.
Britt Hornsby.
Okay, not seeing Jen yet, but I don't know if I heard that she was joining or not. So let's just go ahead and proceed. Did you get a chance to talk to her?
Yeah, she'll probably just be here in a bit.
Okay.
We'll record the time when she comes in.
All right, we'll go ahead and proceed with item number 1, which is to discuss and award brick fire suppression sealed bids.
Awesome. So in your agenda packet, I included quite a few items about the fire suppression. The first item is actually the RFP that has the submission requirements as well as those instructions and the evaluation criteria. And I have all of mine in front of me, so I'm not gonna pull those up unless some, actually, I will pull some up. I will show oh, there's Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hello, I'm here.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, Jen Davila is on now. Thank you.
5:03. Okay, perfect. So let's see, through our there's version bid, all right, 7.2, 1.2s. Interesting. So here is, so the other night when we read all of these off, I realized that we have multiple attachment ones, which is their bid overview form. So their total from our one bid received was $204,050. Whew, words. I contacted 62 fire suppression companies, and we actually had 2 at the walkthrough, and then we received 1 bid. I did some of my due diligence, checking through, making sure that it is a complete bid, and yes, indeed it is. The only thing that was missing, DRC met earlier today, Design Review Committee, and we talked about all of the bids, and specifically with this fire suppression, we noticed, and you probably will as well, on bonding, how it says NA. I gave them a call, because they are our only bid, I was allowed to give them a call and ask for additional information. And he said, yes, we can get bonding. We didn't understand what that line item necessarily meant. And so we can actually get that bonding pricing information for you. And I'll probably receive that tomorrow. So if you guys vote to approve this one, I do ask that you just add onto that saying, pending what that bonding price is going to be, it might be a little bit more than the $204,050. So what they have provided us with is a fire sprinkler bid, a fire alarm bid, an underground work proposal, the kitchen hood, and then also fire extinguisher cabinets. And like I said, that totals that 204. Also,
050, 204,050, right?
yes,
Yeah, that one.
204050.
Yep.
Oh, my bid evaluation. Okay, so moving over to my bid evaluation, if you were to, this is included in that RFP. And so can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So the submission requirements, I went through to make sure that all of the things that we were looking for were included. You see that I have not included is the bonding capacity. They do not have any subcontractors. And then moving on to the next page, we have evaluation criteria. I gave them 100%. They actually had a really beautiful bid packet put together. All of their headings are exactly what we had asked for. It says overview of a contractor's experience. references from at least 3 similar projects completed within the last 5 years. You know, just the things that we had specifically written in our RFP, they spelled it out and really provided all of that info. I have also sent this bid over to our engineers for their review. So something else to maybe note, if you guys do choose to approve this bid, is with the thought that if there are any additional things that the engineers would like to see, that we can request that as well. I asked them to have that information back to us by Monday at the end of the day, if they see anything additional. Something to note, they require 60% for material and design upon award, and then the other 40% due upon completion, which is definitely within our budget. So friendly reminder for fire suppression, in our GOEO grant, we have 125,690 budgeted. And then of our other grants, we have 41,781 for cultural capital and 50,000 from USDA. So actually a total of 217,471 budgeted for fire suppression. And so looping back, this one is 204,050. So we're actually under budget with this bid. I anticipate with the bonding and then also with some of the work that the Bluff Waterworks is going to have to accomplish, we'll probably hit right around that 217. But I am feeling very comfortable and happy to see this bid come in where it did.
So is it safe to say it'd be your recommendation that we accept and approve this bid contingent on reasonable bonding costs and no big red flags from the engineers?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone on the council have questions for Malia on this bid? Seeing none from Gary here online, how about Spencer, Britt, or Jen?
We discussed it pretty thoroughly, Jen and I and Malia and DRS, so DRC. So
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, well, I really appreciate Britt, you and Jen spending the extra time and going through this. And of course, Malia, so much effort that you put into all of this. Hearing no further discussion on it, we will take a vote to accept this bid with the contingency of reasonable bonding coming through and no big red flags from the engineers. So that this will be for Systems Service Specialist Inc., the bid that we received from them, with a total of $204,050. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed?
I,
Okay, I heard all the ayes and no opposed. So the bid is accepted, and thanks for the hard work, Molly, on that one. We can move to our second agenda item, which is the window replacement quotes that we received. On this case, we actually did have multiple window replacement quotes. So walk us through what you're thinking, Malia.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, so window quotes. Same thing on the agenda packet. I have our bid packet and then the 3 bids and then my evaluations. So friendly reminder, we have 25,000 budgeted for windows through our GOEO grant. That is the only grant that is covering windows at this time. And our 3 bids came in at the highest bid from TWS at 37,700. Clarity Glass at 36,500, and then Utah Window Experts at $12,984.03. This was discussed quite a bit in DRC today because we do have quite a price difference between that top and bottom. And what we actually determined is the price of the materials is about the same. For TWS construction, their windows are 8,500. And then for the lowest price of Utah Window Experts, their windows, their materials are 7,784. So really close in price. Where we're seeing the big difference is actually in labor, where Window Experts charge 2,100 for labor for demolition, as well as 2,100 for labor for replacement, where TWS is charging 7,000 for demolition labor and 12,000 for replacement labor. So as you'll see here on my evaluations, I first rated window experts. As you'll see, the same thing, the submission requirements, the check marks. If there's not a check mark next to it, I didn't necessarily see it at the very beginning. I did look on their website. Their website does reference 20 years in business and a Utah license. And overall, I gave them a 95%. They lost 5% points because they did not demonstrate expertise in window removal replacement, particularly in historic or community buildings. I felt like looking at their website, I was able to get a good idea of what they were able to provide in their history of projects, but I didn't see anything particular historic or community, and they didn't provide it to us in this bid packet, so I couldn't award full points on that one. So 95% for them. Down to TWS, they had a beautiful bid packet. Theirs had everything that we had asked for, except for that timeline. So they ended up with an 85%, and the only spot that I decreased their points was in cost, just because they were such a big discrepancy from the lowest bid that we received of Utah Window Experts. Because Utah Window Experts is about half, I gave them a little bit over half on that. The full percentage is 40%. I gave them 25.
Okay.
So they come in at 85%. And then Clarity Glass, they didn't really submit a complete bid. I considered theirs incomplete. They didn't have a bid overview. They didn't have any approach. They didn't send us any certifications. They didn't have a cost breakdown. So they ended up at 30%, but also an incomplete bid because the only thing they really gave us was a cost. They didn't even give us a timeline. So at this time.
Leah, let me ask you
Yeah.
this. To me, it feels like on the first one was Clarity
The first one was Utah Window Experts.
or Utah Window
Yeah.
Experts. Yeah. It feels like to me, we should give them a 90,
Okay,
like in the sense of not giving credit for what you saw on their website.
okay,
I think that's kind of been our policy before, is like we have to go off of what they actually submitted.
okay.
But it seems like still kind of clear that they would be higher ranked than the next highest, given the cost competitiveness.
Yeah. And how highly ranked cost is, with it being 40%
40%
of the
Yeah.
evaluation criteria.
Does anybody have a concern with that approach? I think that's what we did the last time around too, when there was an item that was incomplete. It's like, okay, we saw on the website, but I don't feel like should give them credit for that because they need to, be responsive to the bid. But in this case, as it was in the last one, it didn't seem to change the overall ranking. So I guess Utah Window Experts would be your recommendation, is that we accept that bid and move forward with that.
Yes.
Any questions from the council members? Just maybe I'll ask Britt and Jen, because you guys have been working on this, and talk to Malia more. You all feel comfortable with moving forward with this bid?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yep, absolutely. Same.
All right, well, hearing no further need for discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? I think I heard 5 yeses and definitely no opposed. So hearing that, we will have accepted the bid from Utah Window Experts at the amount of $12,904.03.
984.
$984.03.
Sorry.
$12,984.03. Way better handwriting than mine. Okay, we will move to agenda item number 3, which is also related to the brick, and it has to do with the demolition quotes that we received. I believe when we opened the other night, we had 3 also,
Mhm.
3 demolition quotes. So Malia, what was your analysis?
All right, so same thing that you'll see in your agenda packet. So our demo budget through the GoEO grant is $70,000. by just awarding the window bid at 12,000, when we had 25,000, we are creating more wiggle room for ourselves, so go team.
Okay,
So something to think about. We'll talk a little bit more about this. I will probably talk about this in other, just kind of where our budget sits after awarding, because I don't know what you're gonna award for this one yet. So $70,000 is what we have set aside. And then we do still have that $44,500 town match that is eligible for use. So we have 3 bids, but Pueblo Tierra, which came in at, sorry, I'm not as organized on this one. At 119,800. TWS that came in at 145,800. And then DRL Enterprises that came in at 79,250. So you'll recognize the name DRL Enterprises. They are also the company that just did our asbestos mitigation. And then is a general contractor and also applied for this one. So, okay, so reviewing these bids, they were all complete bids. I went through my evaluations, starting with Pueblo Tierra. They provided a lot of the information we were looking for. You can see my check marks here on our submission requirements. They have a 1-month proposed project timeline of May 18th through June 22nd, which everyone was also within our timeline, which is super exciting. Gave them an 80%. There was some experience and qualifications, not necessarily in historic or community buildings. The bid said that they've done construction in town on homes. So we do know that they have expertise in building, but not necessarily anything that was demolition specific for historic or community buildings. Technical approach, the complete submission of systematic plan for demolition and disposal. We received some information, but not a super detailed submission of the systematic plan. So giving half points for that at 10%. Cost, they got 35% of the 40 because the lowest came in at 79 and they were at 119. And so with that change, that difference, they came in at 35% based on my math, which is not always right.
it feels like your
It
math
does
is off.
I was thinking-
I'm just gonna double check your math for just a quick second.
But then schedule, ability to meet the project timeline, yes, they are at 30%.
So just
Yeah.
for us to double check the math real quick.
Yes.
So the highest bid was
145,800
$145,800.
and the lowest was 79,250.
So it was 17% lower. So 17%, 0.17 times 40. It's 0.8. I guess you're not too far.
So it'd be like 34%,
Yeah.
33.5.
It's not so bad. Okay, not so bad. All right, all right. Double checking you live.
I
Leah.
appreciate it.
All right.
So in that case, it's a 79%
Okay.
instead of an 80. I was
Close
trying.
enough. You're close. You're close.
So that's for Pueblo Tierra. TWS, they also submitted for Windows, so you'll recognize their name. Once again, a really nice bid packet on this one. There was a little bit less information on this one. We did request a description of how they were going to maintain structural integrity, and we didn't receive any information about their process or anything about how they're going to actually do the project, other than we have a lot of experience, we're really good. And so I believe them, but we did ask for some specifics. So I actually gave them 0% on their technical approach because they didn't give us anything of their systematic plan. Otherwise, they received full points on experience and qualifications as well as schedule, and then 30% on cost. How'd I do on that one? Is that 10% less?
what was their bid?
Theirs was 145.8.
And the top was 149.
This is the top, this is the highest. The lowest was 79.
I guess it's, yeah, so think through how you do the math on this. You could say one way to do it would be to give the highest person a 0,
Oh,
you know what I mean? And then rank how much lower the other ones were.
yeah,
Otherwise, you have to rank them against some other random number, you know what I mean?
right. And I usually rank, the way that I've been doing it is I give the person that's the lowest, the full points. And then from there,
Tier down,
Tiered
so it's
down,
off of
yeah.
like what percentage of that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Which maybe it would be good to do it off of the, do you want a piece of paper?
yeah. So, one more time, do the high, medium, low numbers.
Yeah, 145.8 is our highest,
45, because this is kind of important.
definitely.
We just want
Medium, 119.8,
119,800,
lowest, 79,250.
79. 250. If you want to keep going through there, I'll listen and do a little bit of math.
Cool. Sounds good. And then, moving on to DRL Enterprises, really good. You'll see all kinds of check marks for our submission requirements, 10 working days on that project timeline. The only thing missing was the relevant certifications and licensure, which is just that they didn't have a Town of Bluff business license and they are willing to get. I gave them 100% because the experience and qualifications were there. They did have 3 similar projects that were noted, as well as contact information, technical approach, very detailed. If I can speak highly on them from the asbestos mitigation, it was a very detailed invoice before and after. So a really good walkthrough. And then cost, because they were the lowest, I have it at 40. Josh is checking our math on that, and then schedule at 30%.
Yeah, so I don't think we did the math when I did that quick before,
Oh,
so. And I don't think you've had it quite right before, because if you're thinking of the lowest is 79,250 and they get 100, right? And then the next one is 40,000 higher,
Okay,
okay? So you would take 40,000, 40, I'm gonna do this math in real time in the public hearing. People can hear me.
good.
40,
450.
550 divided by the lowest, 79,250. So it's 51%, like the lower one is 51%
Okay.
lower. So the next one would get half of the points.
Okay,
The next one should get half of the points of the first
Okay.
one. And then this other one would get,
can I borrow that one?
yeah,
Thank you. So that would take Pueblo Tierra, their cost points down to 20%.
right.
Okay,
And so then this next one would be 5, so. Three, so these folks would get 17% of 40, so 17% to 40.
so late in the day, to be doing this much math, you're really impressing me.
So they should get 6 points, 6 point or 7, give them 7
7%.
points, yeah,
Okay.
7%. So they would get a lot less.
Yes.
Because like those are significantly higher
Right.
bids.
Wow, that takes TWS to 47%.
Because we're doing 40% of the overall
Yeah.
score on the cost. And the lowest bid is almost half of the next one.
Yeah,
So that next one should get like half of those points. So instead of 40%, they would get like 20%.
Mhm.
And then that other one's even higher, so they would yeah, get 7 or 8%.
Okay, so with the updated figures, TWS evaluation criteria comes in at 47%. Pueblo Tierra comes in at 65%, and then DRL still is sitting at 100. Thoughts, questions, concerns, clarifications?
I mean, this one seems like the cost is really significant difference, and the lowest cost bidder also provided everything we asked for, so it seems like a fairly clear decision. Does anybody else have further questions on this?
Nope, same, discussed it earlier.
Okay. All right, hearing no further need for questions or discussions, I'll ask for a vote to approve the bid from DRL Enterprises for $79,250. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
And one abstentions for yes, one abstention. With that, the bid for DRL Enterprises is approved. In terms of other on the agenda, would you maybe give us an update on our budget?
Yes, for sure. So based on what you guys have just approved, okay, let me think through this real quick. So our fire suppression total, as I said earlier, is 217,471. That's how much we have in grant monies.
Right.
We awarded at 204.50.
It's about
So we have,
13,000 under.
so we have about 13,000 under, but like I said, with the bonding info that comes in and different things, it might be that it actually works out.
Right.
But the amount that we have spent, so asbestos, we went over about 23,000. Demo, we're going over about 9,250. Window, we are actually gonna be under 13,000, 12,000. And then our fire suppression, we are under just a little bit. So our actual spent of our GOEO budget, just between those four things, is 359,725.09 of 352,471 available, not counting our cultural capital and USDA, which is like that 91,000. So what I'm saying here is we have quite a bit of additional funds between our town match. And then also Uncommon Architects, we have paid them so far 133,246 of the 176. I have an email out to them right now to determine if we're going to have any invoices before the end of June. Otherwise, we have that 42,754 to reallocate. So trying not to lose any of our money. So my thought is with this remaining $80,000-ish, do we get something issued next week for maybe floor leveling to try to complete before the end of June? Maybe furring out some of the walls, because we have some walls that need to be furred out, a couple of walls to be installed. This isn't necessarily something I'm requesting an answer on right now, but something to think about. I'll come up with some other thoughts and ideas, because I just don't want us to turn any money back.
Yeah, I mean, I know how much work this is for you, but if we could find a way to spend the money, right? Like,
Yeah.
because otherwise we lose the money if we don't spend it.
Right.
So it feels like there's a lot to spend money on, but is there something that we could spend money on fast in the sense of like only do one RFP or something, or
Yeah.
only do, one?
Yeah, if we could do it as a bid packet, then we can just look for bids and we don't have to do it as an RFP.
Yeah.
So I'm also wondering, what are we looking at price wise on floor level? Is it gonna be under our threshold that requires us to RFP? Or potentially furring out of those couple of walls? Are the floors gonna need to be done? So trying to figure out, is it worth? I don't know, it's hard to do this because then I don't want to disqualify a contractor by asking them to take a look at it, to disqualify them from bidding. If they've looked at it and said, yeah, you're probably looking at this amount in order to do this. So something I'll chat with Aaron a little bit about tomorrow.
And do we
Malia,
have-
what if we looked at plumbing fixtures?
I thought about that as well, just buying our fixtures and just storing them. Or
Yeah,
maybe-
buying toilets, buying that kind of stuff. I mean, we could just. I don't know. That's just an idea. I mean, that's something that they're not gonna go bad.
Yeah, and then they don't have to, like we could use one of those pre-selected bid services where they've already gone through the RFP and then we just pick. So we don't have to put out an RFP for
Yeah.
toilets. You just go buy toilets that are already on the state list kind of thing. Do we have to spend our match by the end of the year too?
Yeah,
So we have to kind of firm that up. I guess my ask will be, Malia, if it's possible for our work session next week,
mhm,
is to do a tighter calculation of how much money, if we were gonna maximize the money, how much is that to spend? And then what would be our, most reasonable options to try to spend that money?
okay. Yeah. I'll get something put
I
together.
like Jen's idea of if there are just hard things we can buy, so it's
Yeah.
not like work you have to. It's not work you have to manage or contractors you have to manage on top of all these other contractors, but if it's like items we could buy that then could be installed later.
Yeah, that was my thought as well. Bathroom, washer, dryer, some water fountain, if there's things we can purchase and just store.
As long as those were in our grants, like qualify for the grant,
Right, yeah. Well, I'll have to have a conversation with our grant, at admin anyway,
Well,
just to see.
I think when we first wrote that GoEO grant, and Aaron can clarify this as well, but it was for a lot of that kind of thing, like more furnishings and finishing stuff out was what we originally had, I think, intended a lot of that GoEO for.
Yeah, that's correct. It was like the office furniture and things like that, as well as some marketing funds to like help promote the building, and get folks in contact with the resources that we'll be housing in there.
which we obviously can't quite do yet.
But we could, I mean, if plumbing fixtures and stuff like that would kind of fall into that line, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well. Really appreciate all the hard work on this, Malia. Thanks, council members, for being willing to come for a special meeting to keep this moving along. And we will see y'all at our work session next Tuesday. We'll consider ourselves adjourned.
5:30.